This girl is a superstar. I've been saying it for years. I keep telling everybody she's the Steph Curry of women's basketball, college or pro. She is a superstar. I had the pleasure of doing an event with her on campus at Iowa a few months ago. I went there for my man Mark Shapiro, and I had a blast. She and I were on a panel together. She's a wonderful, wonderful young lady, incredibly poised, but this woman is the nation's leading scorer, averaging 31.5 points per game, shooting 40% from threes. She's hitting at least 5 3-pointers per game. She is elite.
The WNBA has just been confronted with a hard reality. Caitlin Clark has become the league's golden goose. She's reportedly raking in $10 million through a combination of contracts, endorsements, and bonuses. While this has some WNBA players feeling frustrated, the question remains, are they just jealous? Or is there a legitimate reason for concern?
It's because I'm hearing if y'all don't give us what we want, we sitting out.
That's a possibility.
Before Caitlin Clark joined the WNBA, the league had been battling to gain mainstream attention. Annual revenue was stuck around $200 million, and the WNBA relied significantly on financial support from the NBA.
Well, Caitlin Clark hugging her family, her brothers, Blake and Colin, her father Brent, her mother Ann, and heading to the podium. She is officially a member of the Indiana Fever after has decorated a collegiate career.
On average, WNBA games saw around 6,500 fans in attendance, while merchandise sales were just a fraction of what the NBA generated, leaving the league mostly out of the spotlight. TV ratings, including for the WNBA Finals, struggled to surpass 1 million viewers. Player salaries were capped at roughly $240,000 per year for max contracts, and only a handful of star players managed to land lucrative endorsement deals. In short, the league was just scraping by with NBA subsidies, not thriving. Then Caitlin Clark entered the picture. The moment she declared for the draft, WNBA numbers exploded. The draft itself saw a record-breaking 2.45 million viewers, making it the most watched in history. The Indiana Fever saw their ticket sales soar by more than 400%, with their home opener selling out in no time. Even road games featuring Clark quickly sold out. Other WNBA teams are reaping the rewards just by having Caitlin Clark on their roster. Merchandise sales skyrocketed, with Clark's jerseys flying off the shelves, making her the top-selling rookie in WNBA history. As for TV ratings, the Indiana Fever's preseason game against the Dallas Wings even outperformed NBA playoff games on ESPN.
Time winding down. Are they going to get the ball up in time? Clark for the win! She does it time and time again, the 40-piece, and walks off with the W.
Listen, logo threes, it's her signature. That is the most Caitlin Clark way to win a game.
Caitlin Clark has turned around every metric the WNBA once struggled with. Some players have voiced frustration, questioning why Caitlin is earning so much while veteran stars aren't seeing similar pay. But let's be honest, Caitlin Clark is likely the reason WNBA players are finally on track for the pay raises they've long fought for. In fact, several teams have already made enough money to upgrade their facilities, secure state-of-the-art flying charters, private jets, and offer massive bonuses. She's single-handedly driving millions in additional revenue to the league. Sponsors are finally taking the WNBA seriously thanks to her star power, and networks are paying higher broadcasting fees, all because fans want to watch Caitlin Clark. Let's not lose sight of the bigger picture. The WNBA has spent years fighting for better pay and more attention. Now that Caitlin Clark is bringing both, some players seem more focused on envy than on progress. Caitlin Clark is the biggest thing to happen to the WNBA, hands down. She's not just a rookie, She's the reason the league is finally in mainstream conversations. Yet somehow, the WNBA expects her to play for a modest $75,000 a year. That's less than what many people earn in a typical desk job.
Redirect a pass, Clark. Oh my! From Schenectady! Clark with and drains it. My goodness! Because she's how sick she was. Clark! She's
How will she go for history?
Nike gave Caitlin Clark a massive $28 million a year, 8-year deal, but even that seems like a bargain for what she brings to the game. Meanwhile, some WNBA players who have struggled to capitalize on opportunities or been caught up in drama are demanding higher pay. If anyone in this league deserves a raise, it's Caitlin Clark. She should be earning based on the WNBA's revenue percentages, not stuck with a lowball rookie contract. Let's put this into perspective. WNBA veterans like A'ja Wilson, who've been in the league for years, haven't been able to generate the kind of buzz Caitlin Clark has. Yet, she earns around $240,000 per year. Caitlin Clark, the biggest star the WNBA has ever seen, is playing on a rookie salary of just $75,000. The league has never seen a player like her. Every time she hits the court, she breaks records, fills arenas, and takes the sport to new heights. And yet, despite all her achievements, there are still people trying to discredit her.
It's gonna be that easy. So will Caitlin Clark be a good pro? Absolutely. Will Caitlin Clark come into the WNBA and do what she's doing right now? Immediately? Absolutely not. Not gonna happen.
Okay. Not on the right.
Some WNBA players and media voices have tried every angle to downplay Caitlin Clark's success. They've called her overrated and even suggested she only gets attention because she's white. But here's the flaw in that argument. There have been plenty of white WNBA players before Caitlin Clark, and none of them made the same kind of impact. So, what makes Caitlin Clark different? If her popularity was purely about race, then why didn't the WNBA experience a surge when players like Sue Bird, Diana Taurasi, or Sabrina Ionescu were in their prime? They were all incredible talents, white players who never drew the kind of attention Caitlin Clark has. The truth is, Caitlin Clark's appeal goes far beyond basketball. Her game is electrifying. The deep three-pointers she sinks are jaw-dropping. Her ability to run the floor, make impossible passes, and score from anywhere makes her a must-watch player. Her critics conveniently overlook this because they don't want to acknowledge what's really happening. Caitlin Clark isn't just good, she's revolutionary, and it's not limited to basketball. Caitlin Clark's influence stretches beyond sports. She's not just a basketball star, she's a cultural phenomenon.
Angel Reese says WNBA players could go on strike over salary and benefits.
Career you choose, you should probably look at what the career earnings are of going into that field. What I'll also say is this, every single one of you WNBA players, you better pray that Caitlin Clark doesn't get injured, because she's keeping your league afloat.
If we don't get paid what we deserve, we'll sit out. That's the bold, and let's be honest, somewhat unrealistic statement Angel Reese made that sparked a wildfire on social media. But it wasn't the reaction she was probably expecting. The backlash was swift, and none were more cutting than Patrick Bet-David. He didn't just respond, he tore apart her argument with sharp precision and a heap of financial facts. Believe me, once you understand the full scope of this situation, you'll see Angel's outburst in a whole new light.
The ones coming this year will still be on the rookie contract again. The ones that the year after, they're gonna get more. They probably gonna be making more than us. No, they are.
Who's that?
I'm hurt. They are. Like, yeah. I've been in the meetings. They are. I need to get in the. I need to get in the field.
You need to come to the meetings.
I gotta get in the meetings because I'm hearing like, yeah, they don't give us. If y'all don't give us what we want, like.
Here's the situation. Reese, the self-proclaimed Bayou Barbie turned pro basketball player, is now demanding that WNBA players sit out if they don't get paid more. Keep in mind, this is a player who's still working on finishing layups without hitting the bottom of the backboard, and already she's threatening to shut down the league. Patrick's reaction was a mix of disbelief and laughter, and honestly, who can blame him?
You know what I love watching? I love watching her highlights of missing shots. She's got to be the worst shooter you've met in your life. But go, Rob, just go, give this feedback. Give this feedback here. Go for it.
Season 2, I can't wait to work with you some more. The biggest advice I have for you is going to be how you shoot your layups, period.
Layups? Bang! What do you mean? She's our double-double queen! Bang! What they say, if it's broke, don't fix it. Bang! Teaching Angel Reese to make a layup is like teaching an old dog a new trick. It ain't gonna work. Bang!
Let's dive deeper into what Angel actually said.
I want to get paid. Possibility. Reese has been vocal about her low WNBA salary, revealing her $74,000 a year salary doesn't cover rent, stating on Instagram Live, I just hope you know that the WNBA doesn't pay my bills at all. I don't even think they pay one of my bills. Reese's financial struggles stem from WNBA salary not matching her past earnings, as her NIL valuation at LSU was $1.8 million, bolstered by deals with Reebok, PlayStation, McDonald's, and Coach, while a 4-year rookie deal was $324,000 with $74,000 due next season.
I just hope y'all know the WNBA don't pay my bills at all. I don't even think that pays one of my bills. I'm gonna do the math real quick.
It might cover that. Yeah, it definitely covers that.
What is I don't even know my salary.
She disclosed that she's making around $74,000 in her rookie WNBA season, and claims it doesn't even cover rent in Chicago. Now, for most of us, $74,000 seems like a pretty good deal. But for Angel, she's acting like she's barely scraping by. The irony? This is the same person who made nearly $1.8 million at LSU, thanks to endorsement deals with Reebok, PlayStation, McDonald's, and a bunch of other brands that apparently believed retweeting Shade was a basketball talent.
Not basketball sustained her, especially since the WNBA's $200 million revenue last season only allocated 9.3% to salaries, unlike the NBA's 50% share of the $5.3 billion in 2023. Adam, thoughts?
No, my rent is more than that. It's $8,000. I'm living beyond my means.
Angel signed to a 4-year rookie deal worth around $324,000, which breaks down to roughly $81,000 per year. That's less than 5% of what she earned as a college influencer. No wonder she famously said, "Hating pays the bills." Because, let's face it, her Instagram stories are probably more profitable than her performance on the court. At the rate she's missing shots, the WNBA might need to charge her for backboard repairs. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark is out here shaping the future of women's basketball, while Angel's busy building a brand off questionable opinions and top-tier bricklaying skills.
Hey, this is the greatest Angel Reese layup you'll ever see. Here we go with the dump off, ba-da-dum-bum-bum. I'm loving it. Burn! Oh, she getting jiggy with it. Look at that, crisscross, zigging-zagging through the lane. Giddy up, yeehaw! Burn! Now I heard she's ambidextrous. That makes sense, because she's equally doggy doo-doo with the right and left-handed layup. Burn! Professional basketball player needing to work on her layups is like a fish needing to learn how to breathe underwater. It doesn't make sense! Reese's Puffs! Burn!
Patrick was completely taken aback. Not because Angel is struggling financially, because let's be real, with all her endorsements, she probably isn't. But because of the sheer audacity to demand more money from a league that, wait for it, isn't even profitable. He made the obvious point that in the real world, when a business loses money year after year, it doesn't give out raises. It hands out pink slips. That's when Adam Snick stepped in with the facts, and things really started to get interesting.
WNBA and what's her name? Angel Reese. Do it. I fully support your right to strike. So other sports have done it. So other major sports have done it. Here's a quick list for you, PBD. I put this together. Biggest sports strikes in history. 1994, the MLB strike. It was the first time that the World Series was canceled.
I remember.
You remember that? In 1998, the NBA went on strike. They canceled the All-Star game for the first time.
No one
the
knows.
NFL has gone on strike multiple times. 1982, 1987, 2011.
Adam pointed out that while the MLB, NBA, NHL, and NFL have all experienced player strikes, there's one major difference. Those leagues were making billions when their players walked out. Angel Reese seems to think the WNBA is Apple, but in reality, it's more like your cousin's food truck, barely breaking even and still handing out free samples.
Here's the catch when you're going to go on strike. In 1994, MLB, NBA, NFL, what's the number one revenue sport in America? What do you think it is? The NFL. How much do you think they make? $17 billion. The NBA, a little over $11 billion. The MLB, also $11 billion. The NHL, $7 billion.
Patrick didn't hold back. The WNBA is losing about $50 million every year, and that's not a sustainable business model. That's a ticking time bomb. The NFL rakes in $17 billion, while the NBA and MLB each bring in $11 billion. The WNBA? They're barely scraping $150 million and still can't keep their finances in the black. It's like trying to run a luxury spa with 2 customers and a lemonade stand budget.
You guys are a alleged $150 to $200 million company. You're operating at a loss every single year. You've never made money. It's called a zombie company. You're subsidized.
This isn't a new problem. The WNBA has been operating at a loss since it started in 1997. Over 25 years of red ink and financial mismanagement. You'd think the excitement around Caitlin Clark would finally push them into profitability, but even with record ratings and packed arenas, the losses keep growing. It's a league that should have folded long ago, but somehow drags on, all thanks to its wealthier big brother, the NBA.
A question for you, Vinny. Real quick, rapid fire.
Go.
WNBA stats. Here we go. You're a sports guy. How many teams are in the WNBA?
9?
No, 13. How many games do they play?
80?
40.
Damn it.
Who won the championship this year and who played in the finals?
The Florida Magics.
No, the New York Liberty beat the Minnesota Lynx.
Who?
Who exactly?
Part of the issue lies in scale. The WNBA only has 12 teams, each playing 40 games a season. Expansion is set to begin in 2025 with the addition of the Golden State Valkyries, but that's still a far cry from the NBA's 30 teams and 82-game schedule. Fewer teams mean fewer games, which leads to less ticket revenue and smaller TV contracts. It's simple math. Unless, of course, you're Angel Reese or Carrington.
The MVP. She was unanimous. She got all the votes.
Dylan Mulvaney.
Yes.
Yes.
Aja Wilson.
Oh.
You just failed the test,
I'm
buddy.
sorry.
WNBA's coming for you.
As for revenue sharing, NBA players get 50% of the league's earnings, while WNBA players get 99.3%. Sounds unfair, right? But when you realize that even with that larger share, the league is still losing money, it starts to make sense. There just isn't enough revenue to go around. And don't even get me started on the attendance gap between Caitlin Clark's Fever games and, well, everyone else's, including Angel's. Spoiler alert, the seats tend to be a lot emptier where she plays.
Yes, it is unrivaled. It is also unwatched. Look, let's be honest, we can sugarcoat it all you want, but if you don't have Caitlin Clark playing women's basketball, or if you're not the NCAA tournament playing women's basketball, you got nothing.
Here's the truth. No one's saying WNBA players don't deserve respect or recognition, but demanding more money from a league that's barely staying afloat? That's not bold, it's delusional. And when it's coming from someone like Angel Reese, who's been in the league for what feels like 5 minutes, acting like she's already got the power to call the shots, it's even more baffling. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark is out there doing what she does best, dropping dimes, shattering records, and building a legacy. And guess what? She doesn't need tantrums or threats of walkouts. She lets her game speak for itself. On the other hand, Angel Reese is still trying to figure out how to make a layup without becoming a meme. So next time Angel talks about sitting out, Maybe someone should remind her that fans are already sitting out when it comes to watching her games.
Also, Complex has put out their 10 most influential women in sports. And Angel Reese is not going to like this because, well, she got beaten by Caitlin Clark for number 1.
Caitlin Clark did it again. As if shattering records on the court wasn't enough, she just scored another huge victory without even having to tie up her sneakers. Complex just crowned her the most influential female athlete, solidifying her place as the biggest name in sports at the moment. And the best part? She edged out Angel Reese, who, predictably, isn't taking it too well.
So, it's been hard for me, but adjusting and just kind of have that mindset of, just moving on has been something I try to give myself a little bit of grace.
That's right. While Clark is out here racking up awards, growing the game, and making history, Reese is busy scrambling for excuses, pretending like this honor doesn't matter. But let's be honest, if Reese had won, we'd never hear the end of it. Instead of celebrating someone else's success, she's doing what she does best, downplaying Clark's accomplishments while spending more time on TikTok than in the gym.
Announcing the top 10 most influential athletes right now. These athletes are reshaping culture. Caitlin Clark, check. Breaking records. Caitlin Clark, check. Proving their impact goes far beyond the game, from sold-out arenas to game-changing moves in business and fashion. These women are leading the way. If this is a top 10 list, then sitting on the top of that list, there's only one right answer. There's only one correct choice.
Let's set the record straight. This isn't just about an award. It's about who the fans are really backing. One player has everyone tuning in for her mind-blowing talent, and the other, well, she's famous for making headlines for everything but basketball. Some see this as a rivalry, but let's be real. It's not much of a competition when one player is actually winning.
What is your stance on that? So my whole thing was when I got drafted, number 7. So I'm cool. The pressure is not even on me because I'm drafted 7, so the pressure shouldn't be up there. So I'm all right, cool. I can just hoop. So I'm all right, cool.
It's because you started killing it.
Well, yeah.
And they're oh,
I'm still a rookie. I'm still figuring it out. Trying to figure things out.
All right, let's break it all down. Why did Clark take home this award? What makes her influence so undeniable? And most importantly, why is Angel Reese acting like she got robbed? We're about to dive into the numbers, the impact, and the hilarious aftermath.
And Angel Reese is not going to like this because, well, she got beaten by Caitlin Clark for number 1. Yeah, so we're going to take a look at that. I think it's hilarious. I will tell you right off the bat, I don't believe there's a singular world, where Angel Reese should be ahead of Simone Biles either. There, I put that out loud.
Caitlin Clark didn't just break records, she obliterated them. 62 records shattered in a single season. Let that sink in. This isn't just about making history, it's about rewriting the entire record book. No player in WNBA history has ever dominated like this, and we're only in year 1.
My expectation is to be one of the best players in the world one day. I wouldn't expect anything less than that.
More history for the FIBA rookie.
At this point, continue to be myself, and I think a lot of good will come from that.
But here's where it gets even crazier. Clark didn't just put up insane numbers, she actually changed the trajectory of an entire franchise. Before she showed up, the Indiana Fever were stuck at the bottom of the league, barely staying relevant. Then Caitlin Clark walked in, and boom, they made the playoffs for the first time in nearly a decade. That's not just individual greatness, that's team-changing dominance.
The woman who's been putting women's basketball on her back for the better part of 3 years now. These athletes are reshaping culture. Caitlin Clark has men watching women's basketball.
Let's talk off-court impact, because this is where Clark leaves the so-called rivals in the dust. WNBA merch sales shot up 500% in her rookie season. Yes, 500%. Jerseys, t-shirts, memorabilia, everything was flying off the shelves. Meanwhile, Reese's jerseys? Just sitting there collecting dust, while Clark's sold out in minutes.
This is a phenomenon. Caitlin Clark is a phenomenon.
This isn't just about jersey sales. Clark's influence is shaking up the whole league's economy. Viewership is through the roof. Arenas that once struggled to fill seats are now packed, but only when Clark's in town. Teams that used to beg for fans are now scrambling to expand seating to keep up with the demand.
So that's what they got on her. Caitlin Clark, she ran away with number one. I don't think that should surprise us. She came away with number one. Caitlin Clark is redefining the entire landscape of women's sports. That's right. Her dominance on the court has shattered outdated narratives about women's sports, proving that women's basketball can be just as marketable and widely watched as men's. But the Caitlin Clark effect goes far beyond her performance. It's reshaping the entire sports landscape. Clark's impact is undeniable. Her presence alone boosts the WNBA attendance by 105%.
Even sports economists are stunned by Clark's impact. Thayer Lavielle, a top name in sports business, called her a lightning rod for women's basketball, comparing her to Michael Jordan for how she's boosting the game's visibility and value. And honestly, she's spot on.
Because when we went to the WNBA games and we went to go watch Caitlin Clark when they came to play the Washington Mystics in DC, and they shut that they had to move the game from the Washington Mystics WNBA arena to the actual Washington arena where the Wizards played, and it was packed. It was sold out for people to see Caitlin Clark. That did not happen the day before that when they went to Chicago to play Angel Reese.
Let's talk real numbers. Clark's rookie season alone raked in a jaw-dropping $36 million for Indianapolis. Just one player did that, and it's only the start. Experts predict her rise will boost women's basketball's value by $1.6 billion over the next 3 years. Yes, billion with a B.
I'm going to look at this the way I did with Michael Jordan. Now, she's not the Michael Jordan of her sport as far as athleticism, playing, dominating. But A'ja Wilson is the best player in the game. Not even a debate. But I'm talking about value now. Value to a franchise, value to a league, getting your team in the playoffs. They had the number one pick. They were the worst team last year. And there is value that I can attach to that.
So what does all this mean? Caitlin Clark isn't just a superstar. She's a movement. She's doing more than dominating on the court. She's reshaping the entire league's future, bringing in new fans, generating massive revenue, and making women's basketball must-watch TV.
I'm talking about value. Michael Jordan was the most valuable player every single year because of what he meant to his team and what he meant to the league. And, oh, by the way, winning 6 titles. Can't argue with that. Caitlin Clark may not win titles. Las Vegas is still a great team. But the fact that she's doing what she's doing and at a very high level, you know, it's now commonplace where she'll go for 26 and 12. I mean, those are great numbers for any player, no matter how long you've been in the league.
Meanwhile, Angel Reese is still sitting there trying to figure out why she wasn't named most influential. Maybe if she spent more time working on her game and less time complaining on social media, she'd get that this is about sports.
This is about sports. This is about athletic ability. You know what I'm saying? And when you look at Caitlin Clark's game, who's very reminiscent of a Steph Curry based on her range and shooting the three, plus everything else she does. And then you look at Angel Reese, stop it. Stop it. There's a dude on the internet who cracks me up on TikTok. He's put together a shitload of Angel Reese clips, and it'll say Angel Reese part 36. And it goes, Angel Reese going up for another layup. She misses, bang! And I mean, dude, it's the funniest shit. And my whole thing is this, dude. She just seems as uncoordinated as a baby giraffe.
Caitlin Clark's journey to these awards might seem like a done deal, but the real story is way bigger. Remember Angel Reese? She was hyped as Clark's biggest competition, with the media pushing this so-called rivalry. It was framed as the ultimate showdown, a season-long battle that had fans hooked. But let's be real, was it ever really close?
Saying Angel Reese is better than Caitlin Clark is saying Rodman was better than Michael Jordan, or Ben Wallace was better than Kobe, or even Andre Drummond was better than LeBron. And I shouldn't have to point out that Angel Reese is actually a poor defender.
From the jump, the media pushed the narrative of two rookies battling for WNBA supremacy. But as the season went on, the gap became painfully clear. This wasn't a duel of equals. It was one player dominating the league while the other spent more time in the headlines than in the box scores.
Oh, Reese! 3-on-3, part 13, let's get it! Classic long two. Bang! PSA, no rims or backboards were harmed during the filming of this video. But viewers are encouraged to look away. Bang! What? Bang! I heard her say that she might sit out if the WNBA doesn't pay her what she deserves. They say $1 million for every missed layup is fair. Bang!
They are stat petting queen properly. Fair wages for all. I repeat, fair wages.
Remember, they're coming to see her. Long two, butter pecan. Bang!
Then came Rookie of the Year and First Team All-WNBA, and that's when it all came to light. Clark didn't just win, she ran away with it. The so-called competition wasn't even close. As for Reese, she wasn't exactly graceful in defeat. Instead of congratulating Clark, she hit social media to claim Clark didn't deserve the honor. Imagine losing a race by a mile and then demanding a recount.
But her attention, her notoriety is based off Caitlin Clark. Because she wins the national title, first thing she does, she mocks Caitlin Clark. And then she doesn't even celebrate with her teammates. So she's made it personal with Caitlin Clark. Then she's played off of that.
But here's the real kicker. Clark's success isn't about trophies or petty rivalries. She's not out here chasing awards. She's revolutionizing the WNBA. Her impact goes far beyond basketball. She's expanding the game, shattering attendance records, and bringing in millions of new fans. Meanwhile, Reese is stuck trying to convince everyone she belongs in the same conversation as Clark. The difference? Clark is changing the game. Reese is just trying to catch up.
With that being said, you big dummies, you getting paid now.
Right.
Everybody now has an opportunity to pull up their chair and have a seat.
For the past year, we've seen Sheryl Swoopes relentlessly target Caitlin Clark with outlandish accusations, claiming she's a 25-year-old competing against teens, saying her rookie season lacks merit, insisting that no one wants to team up with her. The barrage of criticism felt never-ending.
Some of your peers, they will recognize, her game, but they won't recognize her impact.
Right.
How can you separate the two? It's kind of hard, right?
I used Jax, you're absolutely right. And I was like, come on, you big dummies.
Then Sheryl Miller stepped up. The basketball legend and former Clark coach threw a knockout punch on the All the Smoke podcast, calling Swoopes a big dummy and shredding her false claims. Miller put Swoopes in check, and her defense of Caitlin Clark hints at something huge for the Indiana Fever, leaving fans buzzing.
3-time Player of the Year, 2-time National Championship, 2-time Tournament MVP, first woman to dunk in an organized game, gold medalist. Thank you for making time. Welcome to the show, Sheryl Miller.
Before we dive into Miller's take, ever wondered why a basketball legend is so focused on tearing down the WNBA's brightest new star? Let's unpack the bizarre crusade Sheryl Swoopes has waged against Caitlin Clark, from her college days to her rookie season.
Let's also talk about how much more experience that gives you over other players coming in, right? So people say, dang, like he or she's killing them, but you have a 25-year-old playing against a 20-year-old.
It all started with Swoopes' wild claim that Clark was a 25-year-old playing against 20-year-olds at Iowa. In reality, Clark was 22, a typical college senior. When called out, Swoopes backpedaled, blaming COVID eligibility rules, an excuse that didn't stick.
Caitlin Clark right now probably takes about 40 shots a game.
Carry on.
I know you like that.
Hell yeah.
I said that because when she comes to the league, regardless of what team she goes to that has vets on that team, she probably ain't gonna get 40 shots a game.
Swoopes wasn't done. She claimed Clark took 40 shots a game, labeling her a selfish shooter. The truth? Clark averaged 22.7. Ironically, Swoopes averaged 19.2 in her senior year. When Clark neared the NCAA scoring record, Swoopes shifted, questioning its legitimacy and suggesting Clark needed a 5th year to break it.
You asked me about Caitlin. If you're going to break a record, to me, if it's legitimate, you have to break that record in the same amount of time that that player set it.
Okay.
Right? So if Kelsey Plum set that record in 4 years, well, Caitlin should have broke that record in 4 years. But because there's a COVID year, and then there's another year, you know what I mean? So she's already had an extra year to break that record. So is it truly a broken record?
Swoopes' claim was false. Clark shattered the NCAA record in 4 years, not 5. She could have taken a 5th year due to COVID rules, but chose not to. When Clark entered the WNBA, Swoopes predicted she wouldn't dominate. Yet, Clark went on to break rookie assist records, averaging 19.2 points and 8.4 assists, winning Rookie of the Year and silencing the doubters.
Didn't say she wouldn't be good. What I said was I didn't think Caitlin or Angel would come into the league and dominate immediately, which I don't think either of them did.
Respectfully, there is absolutely no way, even when we're trying to sit here and play semantics about dominating, there's no way that anyone could ever leave this season in saying that both Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese didn't dominate. You would have to further explain what dominance means for you to not sit here and say that a player who is leading the league in assists while averaging 19 to 20 points didn't dominate that season.
Perhaps the most telling moment came when Swoopes appeared on Angel Reese's podcast, continuing to undermine Clark while claiming she didn't dislike her. A classic case of saying one thing and doing another. The basketball world took notice, and soon Swoopes was removed from broadcasting a Fever game, replaced by Nancy Lieberman. Lieberman didn't hesitate to call out the misinformation being spread about the rookie sensation.
I've known Sheryl since she was in college. I helped do her shoe deal with Nike in 1993, took her to her first SBs. I've known Sheryl, I've coached her, have a lot of respect for her. I called her when Caitlin was still playing at Iowa and she had just broken Maravich's record. And it was all over the place, as you and I have discussed, that, you know, there was this quote by Sheryl that said, you know, Caitlin was, 25 years old. She was, however old, 24 years old. She was a 5th-year senior. Right. She was taking 40 shots a game. Her records were illegitimate.
The basketball world waited for someone credible to step in, and Sheryl Miller delivered. On the All the Smoke podcast, she lit up the critics, offering one of the most authentic defenses women's basketball has seen.
I got off the treadmill and I called her as a friend and I said, you know, you can say whatever you want. You can have your own opinion about anybody, but you do have to get the statistics right. I mean, facts matter. And if you just get ahead of this and just say, hey, I made a mistake on my numbers, then this thing is over and everybody respects you for your opinion. And, you know, you might like Boston, I might like the Yankees. You know, it's okay to have difference of opinions. Well, she got upset with me on the phone and I was like, Sheryl, you know, I'm not doing anything to hurt you. I'm just sharing, we're talking. And so our relationship, it pretty much is not happening at this point. I tried to talk to her at the Final Four. Right. She didn't want to talk to me. My life's going to be good or great with or without Sheryl Swoopes in my life.
Miller didn't just support Clark. She came with fire. Her now viral, "Come on, you big dummies," directed at critics like Swoopes, said it all. But she wasn't done. Miller passionately defended Clark's work ethic, calling out the hypocrisy with the authority of a basketball legend. She pointed out what the haters conveniently ignore.
You know, Jax, you're absolutely right. And I was like, come on, you big dummies. Is she getting hyped? Yes. But she was in the backyard. She was putting in the same time, sometimes maybe more than you were.
Right.
I can't fault her for what she was given.
It's the uncomfortable truth critics won't admit. Clark's presence has elevated the entire league, even the paychecks of those criticizing her.
You know, I mean, look, as much as she was given, you can't tell me if that door would have swung the other way where she didn't live up to the hype.
Right.
Come on, folks are still waiting for her to fall.
Exactly.
Come on.
Yep.
So, with that being said, you big dummies, you getting paid now.
What makes Miller's defense so powerful is that it's based on direct experience, not speculation. After coaching Clark in the 2024 WNBA All-Star Game, Miller had a front-row seat to evaluate Clark beyond the highlight reels, and what she discovered even surprised her.
You recently coached the WNBA All-Star Game. You spent some time with Caitlin Clark.
Best coaching job ever.
Best coaching job
Best
ever.
coaching job ever.
Being around Caitlin Clark, how was the experience for her? She's such a big star. I mean, the sky's the limit for her. To be around her, just talk about the type of person she is and how much she loves the game.
I'm going to be honest because it needs to be said. I can relate to that young lady, and I felt for her.
Mm-hmm.
I know what it's like to be hated. I know what it's like to be a black woman and hated because of my color.
Yeah.
I was pleased and proud to see the narrative wasn't true, Miller said, dismantling months of media spin in a single sentence. She then went deeper, offering rare insight into what makes Clark truly special.
I can't imagine this young lady, I don't want to use hate, but despised.
Mm-hmm.
And people just having, she brought some on herself a little bit because she's cocky for a good reason.
Mm-hmm. Confident.
And I love that about her. But to watch the dynamics and the media, they had their narrative.
Mm-hmm.
And I was pleased and proud to see the narrative wasn't the truth.
Behind Miller's technical breakdown of Clark's skills is something deeper, a genuine emotional bond forged through Clark's toughest moments. When the Fever secured their first win of the 2024 season, Miller didn't just congratulate Clark. She gave her the unconditional support that few others did when the rookie needed it most.
Watching her pass, and I didn't know how talented she was and how well she sees the game in a 3D version, thinker. Defensively, a lot better than I thought and gave her credit for. So watching her and just spending a little time. And one thing, guys, that I've learned is to step back and let these kids be themselves.
The embrace between Miller and Clark after Indiana's first win wasn't just casual, it was a pivotal moment. Clark, battered by criticism, felt isolated. Miller recalled, "I gave her the biggest hug. When she saw me, she said, 'Finally, somebody on my side.' She was getting hit from all sides."
She was getting hit with everything left and right, and I just said, I hugged her, I said, "I'm so proud of you." I go, savor this, use this as a formula. I said, but keep being you. I said, no matter what, keep being you.
In that raw, vulnerable moment, Miller didn't offer empty words. She gave Clark the kind of guidance only someone who's walked a similar path could provide. "I'm so proud of you. Savor this. Use this as a formula, but keep being you. No matter what, keep being you." These weren't just comforting words. They were a lifeline to a rookie drowning in expectations and scrutiny.
Caitlin Clark is going to spend all of next season playing in NBA arenas. We've got rival fans being furious that, Caitlin Clark is that she's getting new arenas, getting moved to new arenas. You've got people saying that they're pushing the Fever. Why are they pushing the Fever?
Caitlin Clark isn't just making waves, she's flooding the league. WNBA franchises are practically abandoning their home courts like they've been hit with a fire alarm that says, "Caitlin's coming." Teams like Atlanta, Chicago, Connecticut, Dallas, Las Vegas, and Washington, D.C. are all scrambling to larger venues just to handle the Clark impact. Meanwhile, Angel Reese is probably doom-scrolling, wondering why her name isn't splashed across those massive billboards.
One thing is very clear. The Indiana Fever is America's team. And boy, the haters, by the time this season is over, their heads are going to have exploded already. They're going to be so angry by the end of this WNBA season. I mean, it's going to be hilarious watching the daily meltdown.
Take a moment to absorb this. WNBA teams are willingly leaving behind their cherished home courts to make room for one rookie phenom. This isn't hype. This is history in the making. 6 different franchises are moving their games to NBA arenas, meaning every Indiana Fever road game is now played in a venue with at least 15,000 seats. This isn't about following a trend. It's because Caitlin Clark has the kind of draw that fills arenas like no one else in the league. While some teams are still playing in what feel like converted gymnasiums, Caitlin's impact demands NBA-level venues. That's the kind of territory reserved for superstars.
That there are 6 WNBA teams that have moved their games to NBA or NBA size arenas.
Let's not kid ourselves. These aren't just slightly larger gymnasiums. These are full-blown arena upgrades. The Atlanta Dream are stepping up to the State Farm Arena. The Chicago Sky, yes, the same team that once treated Angel Reese like the second coming of Michael Jordan, are now dialing it back with 2 games at the United Center. And it's not for Reese, it's for Clark. Because unless the Indiana Fever are in town, Reese might as well be playing at a local community center. Even the Aces, with their glitz and trophies, are booking the T-Mobile Arena just to prepare for the Fever Frenzy.
Caitlin Clark, the people's champion! Let's get it! That's a deep one. Bang! Just announced that Caitlin Clark and the Fever will be playing 41 of 44 games this year on national TV. Hey, coming to watch the other girl, right? Right? Bang! Teams are moving their games with the Fever to NBA arenas so they can sell more tickets. How about that? Bang! Angel Reese attempted a 3 this deep. I think she might dislocate her shoulder. Bang! You want some butter with that bread? Butter. Butter. Butter pecan! Bang!
It's honestly hilarious when you think about it. Just last season, these teams were all acting like Caitlin Clark was just another rookie. We don't need her, they boasted, chests puffed. The league is fine without her. And now, here we are. The same teams are practically begging for court space big enough to accommodate the Clark crowds. It's not just about rolling out the red carpet anymore. It's like tearing up the road and rebuilding it with gold bricks.
Atlanta Dream moved 1 game to the State Farm Arena. Chicago Sky moved 2 games to the United Center. Home of the Bulls, home of the Blackhawks in Atlanta, by the way. That's the home of the Hawks. Connecticut Sun moved 1 game to TD Garden. Home of the NBA Celtics. That's going to look really freaking cool on TV.
Special shout out to Connecticut. This franchise doesn't even have an NBA arena nearby. So what do? They pack up and move the whole operation to Boston. Yep, new state, new zip code, new everything, just to make room for Caitlin Clark. That's not just special treatment, that's royalty-level hospitality. Can you imagine if Angel Reese tried to pull the same stunt? They'd probably laugh her all the way to some suburban middle school gym.
We're now at the stage where Caitlin Clark is probably going to be responsible. I'm not joking when I say this. For like games where she plays in are probably going to be responsible for like 30% of the attendance in the WNBA.
And it doesn't stop there. The Dallas Wings and Washington Mystics are also moving their Clark matchups to larger venues, complete with extra seating, luxury suites, and, let's face it, bigger profit margins. This isn't a coincidence, it's strategic planning. When Caitlin Clark rolls into town, it's not just a game, it's an economic boom. One ESPN analyst even dubbed her the WNBA's walking GDP boost. He meant it as a joke, but honestly, the numbers speak for themselves.
There are teams that are going to average 3,000 fans at games, but have 17,000 fans when Caitlin Clark shows up to town with the Fever.
Now, let's check in on the critics. The same ones who were screaming from the rooftops that Clark was overhyped have suddenly gone awfully quiet. Why? Because their arenas are packed, their jerseys are flying off the shelves, and their TV ratings are through the roof. All thanks to the player they once claimed didn't matter. And as for Angel Reese, she's still stewing over her not-so-unrivaled championship, watching Caitlin dominate the spotlight, the schedule, and the arenas.
The Phoenix Mercury play in the NBA arena. The Seattle Storm do. There are 13 WNBA teams, 7 already playing NBA arenas. The other 6 are moving their games to NBA arenas versus the Fever. You can't acknowledge that she is the needle mover. Yeah.
Before Caitlin Clark hit the WNBA, the average game barely drew 6,000 fans, about as many as you'd see at a high school pep rally. But Clark? She's effortlessly filling 20,000-seat arenas like it's no big deal. That's not just an increase, that's triple the usual turnout. These fans aren't there for the home team, they're showing up for her. WNBA execs are practically falling over themselves, openly admitting they'd give up home court advantage just to cash in on the Clark phenomenon. That's not hype. That's a walking ATM and sneakers.
I believe there was actually a debate on who was Rookie of the Year last year. Imagine being that delusional. Bang! People need to understand she saved this league. Powder, there's no TV deals, no ad sponsorships, heck, no shoe deals for you, Angel Reese, no McDonald's money. The league losing millions of dollars each year. She saved them from bankruptcy. Time to be grateful. Bang! 93% of her games on national TV. She's like that. Bang!
Let's talk numbers. WNBA attendance shot up by 48% last season, and unless your math is off, that increase has Caitlin Clark's name written all over it. Teams aren't just scheduling her games, they're building their entire season around her appearances. The Las Vegas Aces, the same team that snickers whenever Clark's name trends, have quietly moved multiple games to the T-Mobile Arena. Why? Because they know the Caitlin effect is the real MVP. All the eye rolls and cryptic tweets aside, even they can't deny she's the main attraction.
Now we've got some more information on the games and some perspective. Here we are. Indiana Fever put this out, man, just a few minutes ago. All eyes on us. 41 of our 44 games are on national television.
Now, here's where it gets wild. Caitlin Clark has secured 41 nationally televised games this season. That's not just more airtime than any other player. It's more than entire franchises have had in years. We're talking ESPN, ABC, CBS, NBA TV. Every network wants a piece of the Clark action. It's a broadcast feeding frenzy, and trust me, no one's settling for leftovers.
The most television games in franchise history, the most national television games in for a single team in WNBA history. How about that?
Last season, the Indiana Fever were basically an afterthought. They were the dusty book collecting cobwebs on the bottom shelf, overlooked and forgotten. But with Caitlin Clark in the mix, they've transformed into the league's golden child, now the star attraction in every primetime slot. The same team that struggled at the bottom of the standings is now the crown jewel of WNBA coverage. And you know that's stinging players like Angel Reese. For years, they assumed the throne was just waiting for them. But then Caitlin Clark shows up, shattering records, drawing massive ratings, and showing off a range that leaves everyone in the dust. Suddenly, it's her show, and the spotlight's all hers.
Good luck finding affordable tickets for the Indiana Fever preseason game against Brazil at Carver Hawkeye Arena. Seats at the arena for the May 4th matchup between the Indiana Fever and Brazil were first offered to season ticket holders and a few top donors. It didn't take long for them to be gone.
Ain't nobody paying $8,100 to watch Angel Reese play ball, especially when there are tickets. There was a ticket available for $29. $29 to see Angel Reese and the Chicago Sky play at the LSU.
Angel Reese's face when she sees empty seats at her LSU homecoming game? Priceless. Right now, $29 tickets for her Chicago Sky versus Brazil exhibition are still unsold, while Caitlin Clark's same matchup is fetching thousands on resale. Imagine Clark and the Fever playing to a packed Iowa house with fans paying premium prices, while Reese faces empty seats despite cheap tickets. We've got all the receipts on this embarrassing situation, and it's got Angel fuming.
Give it up for the Fever. We're playing a game right here, baby. Woo! They're coming to town. You better save up, because I bet it's going to be pretty expensive, but we'll see what we can do.
Can you believe what just went down in Iowa? This isn't just another game announcement. It's a full-on phenomenon. The Indiana Fever nailed it by scheduling Caitlin Clark's preseason homecoming at Carver Hawkeye Arena, where she became a legend. But even the most optimistic WNBA execs couldn't have predicted what happened next.
37 minutes. That's all the time it took for all 13,000 tickets to sell to season ticket holders. The University of Iowa is trying to make sure the tickets go to fans. Instead, the legislature may do even more. The words "sold out" are plastered on the doors at Carver Hawkeye Arena and the team's website for tickets to see Hawkeye legend Caitlin Clark and her Indiana Fever take on the Brazil women's team in a preseason game.
When tickets dropped, something wild happened. All 15,000 seats sold out in just 36 minutes. No, that's not a typo, 36 minutes. And the best part? The general public never even had a shot. The pre-sale, exclusive to Iowa season ticket holders and donors, sold out by 9:36 a.m.
They were all gone before general sale to the public even started. Clark and the Indiana Fever are returning to the University of Iowa for a WNBA preseason game against the Brazilian national team. That game is on May 4th.
Think about it. This wasn't even a regular season WNBA game, just a preseason exhibition against Brazil. Yet demand was so insane, fans crashed websites, fighting through server errors and payment failures to grab every ticket in record time.
It's a big situation again, like Caitlin Clark selling out Iowa, sold out a preseason game. People saying it sold out in 40 minutes. This is within 20 minutes. Like, obviously, you couldn't get onto the damn website. It's sold out. You could have been trying to refreshing the page and not got tickets. Most of the time, it officially sold out in 40 minutes, but like realistically, it almost crashed the website.
The real shock came after the sellout. Within hours, the secondary market exploded, with tickets popping up on resale sites like StubHub and Vivid Seats at jaw-dropping prices.
Have you seen what the highest one is?
I haven't.
That's like 45 grand.
What?
Front row seats.
Is that it? You should get something. You should get a souvenir or something,
Exactly.
right? For
Get a
$45,000.
signed jersey by Caitlin Clark.
We knew it was a hot ticket.
Yeah,
but
we
wow.
knew it would be, right?
The numbers are insane. Nosebleed seats started at $59, with the worst spots going for over $500. Prices quickly soared into the thousands for decent lower bowl seats, and premium courtside tickets hit $474 each. Nearly $6,000 for a preseason game. That's the Caitlin Clark effect.
They're sold out, so I really don't know what they're gonna do about this. I guess it's just kind of like one of those missed opportunities, and you know, a lot of people are saying they need to move this to a stadium because there's no doubt in Iowa, if you move this to a stadium, it would be sold out.
What we're seeing is a game-changing shift in women's basketball. Fans aren't just showing up, they're paying premium prices that were unthinkable a few years ago. Clark is creating a secondary market frenzy that rivals top concert tours, all for a preseason exhibition. The business impact is undeniable.
I shouldn't be surprised, and yet I'm still surprised because Indiana Fever preseason, not even like preseason, exhibition game, with the Indiana Fever going to play the Brazilian national team at Carver Hawkeye Arena, Caitlin's college facility, sold out. They went on sale this morning at 9 a.m. for Fever season ticket holders, Iowa donors, and Iowa season ticket holders for women's basketball. And then general admission was supposed to go on sale tomorrow at 9 a.m. I'm hearing rumblings of like maybe scalpers got in, like the secondary market is already crazy, but it was sold out and a bunch of season ticket holders couldn't even get their tickets. Iowa women's basketball posted this on their Instagram and on their Facebook just a few minutes ago that, hey, it's already sold out. No point in trying to get tickets tomorrow for the general public because you can't.
The buzz around Clark's return to Iowa is miles apart from Reese's homecoming at LSU. Both teams are facing the same opponent, but the ticket price difference? It's a brutal reality check for women's basketball.
Well, so what I did not know is the Chicago Sky is playing the Brazilian national team. Angel Reese is playing the very same team the Indiana Fever are playing.
While the Fever's game sparked a resale frenzy, the Chicago Sky's preseason against Brazil and Louisiana? Crickets, no crashing websites, no fans scrambling, just complete silence.
Yeah, the reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person, it's because of me too, and I want y'all to realize that.
Angel Reese's homecoming tickets? Just $29, cheaper than dinner for a family. Meanwhile, Clark's Iowa return resale tickets are 17 times that price.
I did not realize that the Chicago Sky were also playing the Brazilian national team at LSU. Oh my goodness.
Here's the kicker. Those $29 tickets? Still available days later. LSU's 13,000-seat arena has empty rows. No rush, no sellout, just silence. Fans clearly aren't that interested.
On Vivid Seats, there are tickets available for $36 right now. A lot of tickets for in the 50s, 40s, 50s, 60s. You get the point I'm trying to make. Very interesting indeed. StubHub, Here's a $29 ticket. A $29 ticket.
It gets weirder on the resale market. While most tickets are going for $30 to $60, some are listed for a ridiculous $8,000. These oddball prices stand out among all the affordable ones still available. It's almost like someone's trying to fake demand where there's none. Maybe Angel Reese is scalping her own tickets.
Somebody has went on these sites and listed some random $8,000 tickets, but you see this. This is just littered with tickets under $100 to watch Angel Reese play the very same team. And I'm going to tell you right now, I don't think those $8,000 tickets. This is LSU. Did Shaq do this? Did Shaq, Big Daddy Shaq, buy these tickets and list them for $8,000?
Premium seats tell a brutal story. Want a good spot for Reese's game? Just over $100. For Clark's game? Thousands within hours. Fans have noticed the difference, flooding social media with side-by-side comparisons, empty LSU seat maps next to sold-out Iowa sections. It's gotta be embarrassing for Reese and the Chicago Sky.
2 sections down, $29 for tickets. They got tickets way down here, next to the court for $120. So clearly somebody's trying to publicly save Angel Reese's.
Angel Reese's claim that people watch women's basketball for her isn't matching the ticket sales. The market has spoken loud and clear. It's not about her star power after all.
And I'm going to tell you, those $4,800 tickets or whatever we saw for Caitlin Clark, somebody will buy those. Somebody will buy those. Ain't nobody paying $8,100 to watch Angel Reese play ball, especially, all right, especially when there are tickets. There was a ticket available for $29. $29 to see Angel Reese and the Chicago Sky play at the LSU. The lowest Caitlin Clark ticket was what? $408, I think I saw.
Social media might fuel basketball clout, but ticket sales don't lie. Fans vote with their wallets, and no amount of followers can hide the brutal contrast between these two homecoming games.
ESPN, all these other places tried to tell you Angel Reese is really moving that needle. She's really driving this growth. Mystics owner Sheila Johnson, she lets you know it's Angel Reese too.
What makes this uncomfortable for Angel Reese is how identical these situations are. Same opponent, same homecoming, same week. The only difference? The player. Reese has built an image as Clark's rival, but when the market speaks, there's no PR spin for empty seats and low prices.
But her attention, her notoriety is based off Caitlin Clark. Because she wins the national title, first thing she does, she mocks Caitlin Clark. And then she doesn't even celebrate with her teammates. So she's made it personal with Caitlin Clark. Then she's played off of that.
The social media reaction has been brutal. Fans are calling out the disparity, saying things like, Angel Reese thinks she's the face of the WNBA, but her team can't even sell out a cheap preseason game. Ouch. When fans compare these side by side, there's no hiding. Caitlin Clark's rookie season proved her market impact, winning Rookie of the Year and driving record attendance and revenue, while Reese struggled to match that.
You know, a lot of people say that Caitlin Clark moves the needle. That is wrong. She is the needle. She dictates. We all know what she's done on the floor. It's history, right? But off the floor, my goodness.
Reese, despite more media push, couldn't match Clark's viewership or attendance. Analysts agree. Clark has a unique ability to draw fans that Reese just hasn't tapped into. This isn't just about skill. It's about who drives revenue, fills arenas, and moves the financial needle in a league where money dictates everything. The market speaks loud and clear.
Angel Reese may be playing in the league, but who wants to see a goofy 6'6" woman miss layups? Not I.
The truth is clear. Clark is changing the economics of women's basketball, while Reese is stuck on the sidelines. Clark's impact led the Fever to the playoffs, while Reese's Sky struggled despite the hype. what we're seeing is revolutionary. The contrast between these ticket situations shows who's really driving the WNBA's rise. While execs celebrate growth, they know Caitlin Clark is the real catalyst behind this surge.